When I first got the script for Underwater, I just read straight through it. It was just so interesting seeing this vision and imagining what could possibly be down at the bottom of the ocean, and imagining a world where people are down there, just blue collar workers doing mineral extraction and stuff like that. So looking at that futuristic world was completely enticing to me. But just the fact that we know so little, and that I knew I had to get into that and make a story. There's a ton of different things hitting our cast during the movie. So obviously the station is falling apart, the intense pressure, the darkness. We take that scene, measure these sort of like 3D elements that we have by having these little markers around, and then we simulate the water around that. And the results are pretty wild. So the creatures evolved quite a bit while we were filming. You sort of, because we have people mimicking them on set, but then as you get deeper and deeper into the movie in post, and the digital part starts to work itself out, you just see the parts that you love about it, and it's almost like directing an actor, but very slowly over a long period of time. You're like, oh, that's what I love about what we're doing here, so let's do that more. Or his eyes look so creepy, let's make them a little bigger. And his hands look so messed up, let's focus on that. We had to be pretty creative with our set designs, because sometimes one set had to be another set later. So we tried to make really bold choices in terms of like the ages of the sets. So they start at the Kepler, which is this much older sort of suspended pump station up in the air. And that station is really like probably a lot more steel, and just the color palettes look kind of older and a lot more rust in it. And then from there, they move later to the Roebuck station, which is a much newer station set right on the bottom. And it's newer, a lot lighter paint qualities. We put a lot of glass blocks in there, like kind of like, they look sort of 80s in a way, but I just like the way the light would come through them, and you immediately felt like you were somewhere else. So we took the same sets and sort of bashed out parts of them and completely redid it this way or that way, just to make it look like a different space. And you do a lot with just basic shape design and lighting to get there, but Naaman did a terrific job in just flipping out entire places. And one day you'd be walking from the Roebuck station, and 2 days later you go in and you're like, oh my God, this looks like we're back at the Kepler. We got so lucky on Underwater with our cast. I couldn't even believe it. We got Kristen Stewart, Vincent Cassel, TJ Miller, John Gallagher Jr., Mamadou Ate, Jessica Henwick. Just an awesome, awesome crew. Well, I call them a crew, but, group of people just, that you maybe wouldn't totally expect to be in a movie like this. People who were really willing to get into that sandbox and push the limits of, what they could imagine and what this could be like. Just somebody who was willing to participate in such an insane sort of wild idea of such a journey of a movie. Kristen Stewart, she plays Nora Price. Just crushes it. Like, literally put so much into her character. I don't deserve her. We don't deserve it. It's just like, she's so thoughtful about not just like how the character is going to appear or what they're doing, like obviously all those things, but she gets into a place that is like almost mystical in terms of like, the thought process that you see is like behind her eyes as she gets into that character. I don't know, it's unbelievable to watch her work, and she's so talented, obviously. Vincent Cassel was just a powerhouse. Like, talk about a person with unbelievable gravitas and presence. He plays our captain, sort of our shepherd, and just even having him there on set, you sort of feel like he is a shepherd. He just has so much, like I said, gravitas sort of about him, just even his presence and the way he looks at things. With Underwater, we got to create this incredible visual world, you know, going to the bottom of the ocean. And we really wanted people to feel like they wanted, you know, even though it's a scary movie and there's a lot of places you might want to close your eyes, I wanted people to want to watch just because it's such an interesting place. So getting to envision that was a lot of fun. And our cinematographer, Bojan Bazelli, is a true master of his craft, who just literally, you know, we shot 65 millimeters, so really big. So I hope people go see this in the movie or in the theaters, because it's just so cool looking.
Hey, it's Lisa here with a movie extras fact. Now, while Independence Day's visual effects are littered with CGI, one of its more compelling scenes is a scene in which the aliens set fire to New York. Unlike the rest of the visual effects in the movie, that fire was real. The production team built a model city on a soundstage, installed pyrotechnics underneath, and flipped the city sideways while they lit it on fire. Now, click here below to subscribe, and remember to tap the bell to always receive our videos in your feed.